That's right, 98.9 Northwest FM. The time is now 7 o'clock. You're on CarTorque with Matty J. Still in the studio with James and Allums. How you going, boys?
Good, thanks, mate.
Good. Ready to talk about cars now? Finish with the movies?
Finish with the movies. We're going to change topics. We're going to move on from movies. So what you just heard before was Man versus Movies with James. Give his Facebook page a like. It's Man vs Movies. Really doing good things. 2 episodes in, really exciting stuff. Tonight we're going to be having a good discussion about in-car entertainment, ICE, because over the last 10 years we've really seen the peaks and the lows.
Definitely lows, and
yeah.
I think we're sitting in the lows to possibly a progress to the death.
Yep.
Of at least optioned in-car audio or in-car entertainment, I should say.
And there's a variety of reasons why. I mean, one reason would be, for example, manufacturers are making it harder to install other things and giving you what's called an ICC, in interior command center. So it's harder to put aftermarket stereo in. It's still possible, but
it's like an iPhone,
pretty much
of cars.
Pretty much,
You can't add anything.
Yeah, exactly right. So yeah. As James said, they're becoming pretty much like an Apple product where you just can't do anything. I'm probably going to lose half my listeners now. They're probably all Apple heads.
I've got my iPhone here. I'll still listen.
But it's I've like I know Alan and I especially have lived through the scene when putting a big sound system in your car was really big and really important.
That was the first thing you did after you got your car.
Yeah, it was. Like I remember
you changed out the stereo.
Yep.
You had to Super Cheap Auto, or you had to JB Hi-Fi Audio, and you'd immediately you'd put your money together, get the best one you could.
That's right.
Get your friends together, and then start soldering the cables together.
And it was fun because at the end of the day, you brought your friends together and you got to learn a bit more about your car. I don't know if for our listeners overseas and stuff, especially in Victoria, we've got a really stringent car laws basically, and you're not allowed to modify to an extent. So pretty much when I was a P plater, because we weren't allowed turbos or anything, it was a $500 car, $5,000 sound system. So, and no BS, that's what my old sound system was. James remembers it. I used to be pretty crazy.
The sub was bigger than the car.
It actually started like the interior panels were like getting rocked that far out. It was pretty stuffed. But at the end of the day, it was what made it fun. And I loved shopping around for my speakers, for my head units, for my sub, wiring kit, even like neons and all that stuff. Okay, it's a bit ricer these days, and it's not Fast and Furious.
It's not looked kindly upon these days, but it was your car, it was your customization, it was what you wanted to do, and this is going a little further back in the mid-90s. I recall us having I believe it was a Mitsubishi Sigma in New Zealand. And that didn't have the standard DIN configuration, so we actually had to saw part of the center console to put in the new stereo. And we did it. It was one of the things. We soldered the wires that went, we figured out where they went, and we did it. And over time, you've had this increase in accessibility with the standard DIN configuration, the double DIN configuration for, much larger screens, so you could get video, GPS, or, other added, I guess, benefits in your in-car entertainment system. And I thought that was probably some of the best stuff, but now we're slowly moving away from that to the point where you can't, where the integrated system is all you get, and if you were going to modify that, you better be ready for thousands of dollars worth of, I guess, fixing. And you do certainly get choices with automotive manufacturers. They give you, I guess, a plethora of choices with stereos, I guess speaker choices, layouts, possibly even DVD or GPS integrated into the system. But they're a car manufacturer, and they're looking to make a car, and they're looking to make a profit. When you've got certain companies out there that are solely focused on the in-car entertainment, they are guaranteed to do a better job. They're guaranteed to, I guess, stay ahead of the market, bring you the newest content, newest products with, I guess, the best video quality or the best sound quality. And where you've got a car manufacturer, they're caring about, I guess, bringing out units, making sure they're compatible with the next generation of car. They're not concerned about, you getting the best experience in your car. So them now taking away that, I guess, the perfect double din configuration is pretty much causing an industry-wide shutdown of in-car entertainment. My nearest JB Hi-Fi does not have a car entertainment section. I actually went in initially when I got my Subaru because I wanted a new head unit. They told me flat out, we don't have one. Go to another store. Yeah. And that's essentially what I had to do. So slowly, I believe most JB Hi-Fis are actually getting rid of their in-car entertainment areas,
phasing them out. And it's really interesting you said that because it is very sad. I've throughout my time playing around with tinkering with cars and especially sound systems, to see the development that's happened. For example, my brother had an FG XR6 before this, and he had a sound system in his car, and it used to buzz really, really bad. And we spoke to the people there. They're like, yeah, it's the factory sound, it's the factory ICC unit. Because you can't put the aftermarket one in, it's running off that, and it just doesn't get that right connection. And he's like, this is why people don't bother with it anymore. They just accept it and just like whatever. And it's really ruined. It ruins your experience because car companies don't think of the future; they think of now what's going to make them money.
Exactly.
So if at the end of the day, for example, digital radio, that's where we're going to be heading next because all the analog systems are eventually going to be shut down. They haven't thought that far ahead. And then these people with these like ICCs are going to be like, well, our exact cards are going to be pretty much pointless. You're going to have to listen to CDs. Oh wait, we're phasing those out as well. So, for example, at my work, we sell stereo like head units without CD players. Because they're actually getting phased out.
They're just now multimedia players, I guess.
And that's what it is. Look, we're going to go to a first break of the night. Okay, so we're still in the studio with Alan and James from Man vs. Movies. I'll give you another plug there. We're talking about in-car entertainment and just basically car companies, what they're doing to stop the aftermarket happening, especially in the last 10 years.
Yeah, pretty much strangling out, I guess, companies that were flourishing earlier. They were making really good products that were providing people with pretty much a service, really, and now they're taking it away. But earlier you mentioned bringing in digital radio.
Yep.
And my current unit, it doesn't have digital radio, even though I changed it out recently.
Yep.
I just got something that would, I guess, take care of my needs for the foreseeable future. And when analog radio is taken down, I can easily, at least, assuming they're still selling head units, I can go into the store, choose something that would once again suit my needs. Perhaps this time it'll be doubled in. It'll have maybe a screen, GPS, some DVD playability.
Extra features.
Extra features that I feel like getting and paying for. And I can just pop that in, and once again, I am on the road. It is working. Whereas if you've got yourself... I've unfortunately forgotten the name, an integrated system.
Yep.
You're very hard pressed to actually get that, I guess, fixed. And most probably at that time you'll be out of warranty with your car, so you'll be really pretty much left out in the dark as to what to do because it's a proprietary system that they've built. So not everyone's going to know how to work on it. No one's going to know how to actually take it out and see what they can do. So you're most likely going to not be able to listen to the radio. Hopefully you'll be able to, listen to some CDs. But it's some people might think it's not a big deal, and maybe we're just making a big fuss about it. But hopefully people are listening to us on the radio right now. And it's one of those things, when you're driving, seldom are you just driving along in silence. You are doing something. You'll possibly listen to the radio, podcast, something like that. For me, a lot of times it's music. And if I'm on a leisurely drive or if I'm going somewhere, that music is essential. Otherwise, you just get very, very bored
quickly.
And it can even be a podcast if you really want. And it's something that we, I guess, take for granted these days. And losing that, or losing the ability to do that the way we want to in the future, it looks like it may occur. And I'm not 100% sure. Maybe car companies will turn around and give us more customizability, but it's really not in their interest to do so.
It isn't.
And it's just having a nice song, having it play in the type of quality you want is integral to your journey, and integral, if you're a car guy, you're there experiencing the car itself, then I guess the best music can make all the difference to maybe a mountain cruise or something like that. You've got the right music, just the right atmosphere. I think that's essential, and it's just a great experience that you just can't get anywhere else.
Yeah.
And the car companies are unfortunately threatening to take that away. Yeah,
I couldn't agree with you more. I've seen recently with, like, from where I work, I won't give them a plug, but the book, it's like an aftermarket accessory book for head units, and it's by a company called AirPro, and they, for most cars, offer like a replacement head unit. But and when I say for most cars, they'll, for example, you get your standard Mazda 3, yeah? Since the first Mazda 3, it's all been one unit, and you have to change the whole thing, which is a really expensive and laborious task. For my sister's car, for example, she's got a Series 1 BK, and to change that, to put a screen or something in there, you're looking at $600-700, or even more then that's with no features, So this company offers like a replacement, so you can put like a double DIN or a single DIN in there, but at the end of the day, you lose your functionality. And only a few cars get the functionality with, to keep your steering wheel controls, to keep to keep everything kind of still working really well.
Exactly. Yeah.
And if you want to have that for some cars like a Commodore or a Falcon, like something a bit more accessible, even a Toyota, they'll offer a patch, but that patch is an extra $100. So if you weigh it up, you're looking at from what should have been like a $200 replacement head unit, you're going to be looking at spending like $600-700.
Exactly. And that's, I guess, a company that's providing a service, for people looking aftermarket. If you want possibly a similar service from a car dealership, you're looking at in the thousands.
Yeah.
You want a subwoofer or any kind of, I guess, a greater variety of speakers, better speakers, or a better unit, thousands.
Yep.
And it's usually a subpar product compared to what you can get on the market for a similar price or even less money. And overall, it's you just feel like you're getting ripped off.
Yeah, well, I know, like, for some companies that they offer, like, your premium sound as an option if you want to buy your car. But the premium sound's rubbish compared to the stuff you can buy anyway.
Yeah.
So, and they charge you an absolute premium for it. But you can only get that with certain options. And this is another thing that pisses me off with car companies. Basically, when you option something, if you option, like, say, for example, if you option, like, a tech pack, okay, you get little functions here and there, but then you'll be like, okay, to access these other ones, you need to buy the luxury pack. So then you end up spending more money, and you end up spending like what should have been really stock standard in the first place. You end up spending like another $6 or $7 just to get that one function working.
Exactly. You're paying for things that you really don't want.
Yeah.
It's similar to, I guess, pay TV in certain cases. You're paying for a lot more channels than you're actually going to use, and well, at least with the pay TV case, it's usually $50 to $100 more a month, whereas in this case, it's thousands and thousands of dollars. Not everyone wants to spend that, and not everyone can.
Yeah, that's exactly, and not everyone can afford to just fork out money like that. Like for example, if I was to change it in my F6, they don't actually offer a screen replacement. You can put a single DIN in there, but it's at the bottom and it looks ugly, and you lose your functionality of your ICC. And it ruins it. It's pointless. But at the end of the day, you can't have because the car didn't come with USB input. It came with the AUX input, but you had to buy that separately. Believe it or not, it was a stupid thing. So technically, if you want to have like a USB for ease of access or anything, you have to buy that extra. The car companies should have this, and should allow for aftermarket companies as well to have extensions on their product. Say, okay, well, if we're not going to offer it to you, we can at least figure out ways to do it. Exactly.
At least leave it open for somebody else who's willing to do it.
Yeah.
Instead of locking everything down, making sure it's impossible to get to. In some cases, very difficult, but in some cases, even impossible to the point where you'll break things. It's just, it's absurd, really, when you think about it.
Well, in my Laser, for example, I've had this head unit in there. And then this head unit I've had in like 3 cars. I had it in my first car. I bought it like close to 10 years ago. It was like one of the first Bluetooth ones. Came with like 3 RCA outs, 2 USB ports, stuff like that. It was like the top. It was like the top one before you go into like a DVD player sort of thing. And it's been great. It's now moved from one laser to another laser to and I think when it was in a Camry at one stage, and on my in the laser, it's so much easier because it connects to my phone. I can answer phone calls. I can stream music off my phone, do all that sort of stuff without even touching my phone. Right. In the F6, which is like a car that's close to like 6 years newer, doesn't have any of those functions. It's got an AUX cable and a CD player, but if I wanted to add the other things in, it's time and money that you shouldn't have to spend.
Exactly.
And at the end of the day, these car manufacturers are making it so hard for you to alter anything. That the aftermarket companies like, for example, like you get like a JVC or like a Pioneer or Alpine or like whatever the brand might be, that they're finding it harder to like integrate their products. So that's why you're seeing a reduction of head units, a reduction of the parts you can get for head units. Like, for example, I was saying before, they're phasing out CD players, and they're making them to a cost. So, like, for example, a head unit 10 years ago, for like the best one was like $600, yeah, like, and that had everything. One that's got just your basics is like $100 now, and then that'll still have your kind of like that won't have a CD player, but it'll just have a USB port and an AUX. At the end of the day, car companies are like really shutting these other companies down, but that's what they want to do. So how to get around this? Well, for the newer cars, it's going to be a lot harder. And 10 years down the track, you're not going to have the support from the manufacturer. You're not going to have support from even aftermarket because they're not going to know what to do. So I think what needs to happen for us car guys is for us to say, hey, hang on a minute, like, we need to have this functionality. We need to be able to say, hey, I want to change my unit 10 years down the track, and not because our existing one's going to be so obsolete that we're not going to be able to use it anymore. So we need to be able to have that ability to say, okay, I'm going to go down to your local Super Cheap or to your local JB and just get a head unit and stick in. It's going to be up to date, going to work, going to give me what I need. Because while the new functions that the companies are bringing out are good, 5 years they're out of date.
Exactly.
So
most of the time they're barely on par with what you can get at the time.
Exactly right.
And it's due to just the nature of the beast. They want to make things to make a profit. They're all about fitting the units into multiple cars. They've got their own restraints.
Yep.
It's a part that they're not good at it. There's other companies that are much better at doing this job, and they're strangling them. They're essentially just taking their spot. They're not doing a very good job of taking the spot. They're just kind of forcing their way in. And as you were saying, 5 years down the track, it's going to be outdated. You're not going to be able to change it. When you've got cars from, people who are driving cars from the 60s, for example, you've got an old Mustang, you're not using the AM radio. Most of the time, if somebody is interested in listening to music while they're driving, they'll install, just a head unit, maybe
in the glove box,
hidden away, wire it up. And it's because the car is from such an old period where, there was no DIN standard, there was nothing like that, there was just the AM radio. It's from such an old period that you have to do that. Making people do that to their cars that are, released in the 2000s seems absolutely absurd.
It does. And look, car companies like for example, your GM, your Ford, your Toyota, they've got their own their own what would you say, like fascia? So like there'd be like they'd incorporate like Apple CarPlay and stuff like that. Like I think they got GM's got like MyLink and Ford's got, I forgot even what the hell Ford before one's called, but it's got a sync. They use sync. But at the end of the day, when the new ones are going to, this is the point. This is the bad thing about when the new ones come through, they're not going to offer the support, or if they do, they're going to charge you to update your ICC. They're going to say, okay, well, if you want to come to the latest version, we're going to charge you an arm and a leg to do it.
Exactly, because they hold the power. No one else has it. It's the dealerships or the car companies, and you've got either the choice of just sticking with what you have or just paying through the nose. And I've lost my train of thought.
Yeah, right, well, yeah. Look, for example, with my F6, yeah. So from the factory, you could have bought it with GPS. It was a $5,000 option. Can you believe $5,000 option to put to have
just to put a GPS
to have satellite navigation? All it is, because when I bought mine, it didn't have it. I went to the aftermarket place that sells pretty much it's the exact unit, the genuine unit, $400. I wired it in myself. Like it was just plug and play. That to charge $5,000 for, and believe me, tons of people did, and to say that if you don't do it, well, we're not going to offer it to you. It's frankly it's just a joke, and it's unfair for the consumer because the consumer are getting bullied, and the smaller companies are getting bullied. And and when people want to go aftermarket, like they're going to be like, okay, well, you're going to have compatibility issues as well. So car companies are making it easier for us, like just us normal car guys to like update and stay in the loop without forking out big money. Which at the end of the day, look, car companies are there to make money, but they should really think of us consumers as well.
And I can understand trying to get in on a market that shows, I guess, profitability. Before the car companies started strangling them out, the companies making in-car entertainment were making a pretty good profit.
Yeah, they were.
And it's just usually when you come in to take the market away from your competitors, you're providing a better service. And they're unfortunately not. Yeah. They're providing a worse service. I also recall with my Prius, my Falcon, the option for an AUX input was, I think, approximately $150 to $200.
Yeah.
And it seemed like it was a big job to do. Maybe there was some special kind of wiring that needed to be done, or perhaps it just took a very long time. Me being, the resourceful young man I am, I looked it up on the internet.
2-second job.
I found out that you can actually buy the part from, in this case, it was an auto parts store. And I went in, purchased the part for approximately, I think it was $30. I could have gotten even cheaper if I waited and bought it online, but I was in a hurry because I wanted to listen to my own music. And I was just laying in the parking lot underneath the dash of my car, wired it up, and I was good to go. So it was $30 and approximately 10 to 15 minutes of struggle under the dash. And
tons of swearing and profanity.
And I was set. And it just the comparison of, the $30 part, this is from an auto parts store that's also making money. The part very much would cost $5 at most.
Just that.
If that. You're putting in a $5 part that's going to take you, if you're already working on the cars and you know what to do, it'll take you 5 minutes at most. It's really unjustifiable to be charging $200 for that.
Yep.
And yet they are. And unless a person's willing to investigate to see what they can do themselves, they're going to have to pay that or miss out. And I guess I'd like to fight against that if I could.
Well, I'll put it to you, Alan. What do you think, in-car entertainment's heading? Do you think that eventually all cars are going to be like this, where there's no external factors, where they won't allow for external, brands, for example, to integrate their own products? They're going to be that shut down that only if anything happens, even if you're 10 years down the track and say your unit breaks down, that the only people that are going to fix it are the dealership. Yeah,
into the future, I really feel that that's where the industry wants to head, to the point where they're in control and what they give you is what you get. If you want something a bit more extravagant, you definitely will pay through the nose.
Yeah.
But the biggest problem with that is you'll find it with other issues that you usually have with cars as well. Later on down the track, when you're out of warranty, when it's been 5 to 10 years, the dealership doesn't want to know you.
Exactly.
Unless you're willing to pay an exorbitant amount of money, which it's prohibitively expensive. There's no point in, you could possibly get, in some cases, a new car for what it might cost you to fix or fit in a brand new unit. So if your car is 10 years old and you bought it for approximately, $20,000, it's now depreciated to the point where you really could get a brand new car for the price that they'll probably charge to replace your unit. So maybe that's what they want. Maybe they just want people to just replace their cars.
It's planned obsolescence, and that's what that's what I think the car manufacturers are. They're taking again. Sorry, Apple guys, but they're taking it off the Apple guys. They're wanting to bring out a new thing every year, and say, okay, well, if you want to be up to this, you're gonna have to upgrade, or you're gonna have to do this, and it shouldn't be that way. But at the end of the day, they're there to make money. So what I think you should do, for example, if you buy a base model of a car, I'll put it out there. Let's just say a Hyundai i30, because my uncle just recently bought a base model one, brand new, and because for the higher ones that they came with, like Bluetooth, I think he got Bluetooth on his, but like they came with sat nav and everything else. There is no aftermarket support to do that. So if he wants to go 5 years down the track, say, okay, I'd really like to put sat nav in it, they're gonna be like, oh well, you know what, it's gonna cost you a lot of money, or you may as well better off in buying a new car. It's giving the people not a good chance to say, okay, well, I don't want to go through you guys. I want to go through my like another company that offer a better product, and they're not going to allow it. So it kind of makes it hard, but that's where we're heading.
And a problem arising from that is, if there's no incentive for the car companies to do better, why would they?
Yeah, exactly right.
So they've strangled out this aftermarket competition. Now they're just the ones in control of your in-car entertainment. And if you don't like it, well, too bad.
Yeah.
And it gives them no incentive to give you improvements. I guess competitively over other car companies, they may want to provide you a better product. But afterwards, once they've sold you the car, then you've got nothing. That's it.
Well, put it this way: a friend of mine's got a. It was brand new when this happened, and it's only a few years. It's only 3 years old, this car, and they bought a brand new telephone, and they paired it up to the to the Bluetooth, and the phone stuffed up the unit because the phone was too new. The Bluetooth system was too new for that car. Now, lucky they were in warranty. They had a year to go their warranty, because if they didn't, they would have had to have. It's a $10,000 unit. That's how much these ICCs cost, like at a minimum. And they repaired it for them, and they're like, oh well, your phone's just not compatible, and we haven't figured out an update to do it. So they've had a phone that's not compatible to a Bluetooth unit, which is frankly ridiculous.
It is.
And
definitely.
look, we'll continue this. We're gonna go to our next song. I'm gonna go to a quick break. If you give us a text on your thoughts about this car audio issue that we're having, it's becoming it's going to be an issue in about 10 years once these newer cars are going to be obsolete. So 0447 I'll start again 044777 989. It's 044777 989. Give us your thoughts. Give us your ideas of how companies can fix this. We'll be happy to hear from you. We're going to get to the quiz shortly, but in the meantime, we're going to come up with some ideas of what's going to happen to try and fix this issue.
Oh, I mean, there was already really a solution. The solution was built, the double DIN solution. It was the DIN standard. It made sure that no matter what car you had, you could change things. And I am a strong believer of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
But I am also a believer of, if you need to make improvement, if you can make it better, you should try. This definitely hasn't made things better.
Definitely not.
The third car we have at home, the Suzuki SX4, we purchased that in 2008, and it has an amazingly futuristic MP3 CD player. So that's the one awesome feature we've gotten. There's no aux input. There's no USB. So we're essentially stuck with the one CD or a radio. And once, as you said before, digital radio takes over and there's no more analog radio, we've got nothing, which will be rather unfortunate, but hopefully the car will not be in my household at that time. And
make it someone else's problem.
Earlier, as you were saying, with the planned obsolescence, it's a great thing we see in the tech world, particularly with Apple products and other phones. After about 2 years, your phone tends to slow down dramatically. The battery doesn't really keep up. You eventually are forced to replace it, and it's a bit of a hassle for some people. I generally embrace new tech, so I don't mind it. Unfortunately, my wallet does mind it very much, but the key thing, I guess, for a lot of these, if it's your phone or your laptop or your TV thing to note, a lot of those things sit within that, I guess, $1,000 to, if you're really, really fancy with your TV, $6,000 price range. And at least for phones, they're relatively replaceable. You can, in 2 years, just get a new phone. You can, in 2 years, if you really want to, get a new TV. It's within the reach of, I'd say, the majority of the working public.
But a car, it's an expensive investment.
Exactly. The car, you plan on keeping a car for, in some cases, 20 years. Some people just don't want to let go of their car until they die. Yeah. And the prices as well for cars, I'd say a majority of cars will set you back at least $15,000 for like the smaller base model kind of cars. And if you're reaching up there, if you need a bigger car for a bigger family, for example, just a Falcon or a Commodore, even though they're being discontinued, you'd be looking at around $35,000. And if you want something, I guess, nicer, maybe a sports car, a Mustang, you're looking in the 60,000s.
Yep.
And just, in that, from, I guess, the $15,000 to $60,000 price range, I guess are the cars that most of us would grasp. And that is much, much higher than just $1,000 phone.
It is.
So having to replace that after 2 years is just absurd to think about. But even 5 years, I'd say, is still, for a lot of people, it's too much.
You know what I think needs to happen, Alan? Sorry to interrupt you. Is because with most new cars, it's all integrated. It's all... Look, don't get me wrong. The clean finish does look good.
It does.
And it makes it all sleek and look good. But I think what needs to happen is that if car manufacturers are going to... Look, it's not going to happen, but in my ideal world, if this would happen, is that if car manufacturers say, okay, well, this is our product, and when the car, when they bring out the new version, they'll be like, okay, if you want to upgrade to your own thing, here's like a fascia kit, or here's something that you can use that you can put your own unit in, and give you the option.
Matt, sorry to interrupt. When this is a really bad analogy, but when the 360 came out, and they're like, oh, you can customize the faceplates, and no one did.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be like that? It's like a fake thing. They're trying to put up a smoke screen saying, no, you can actually customize it, but really it's just their version of whatever they want you to.
I was thinking that if they'd give you a fascia, so it all still matches in, but you can put your own head unit in there and your own tech. So because head units and as we know, tech in general it's constantly you buy it one day, 2 days later it's out of date. So to keep update, they either offer two, I'm going to say two solutions. They offer a really cheap alternative, a cheap update that'll keep you going for another 10 years, or they give you that option of putting your own unit in there. And I think they should really do that, because if they don't, people are going to be turned away from buying new cars. They're going to be like, well, all this tech's just going to be outdated in a year's time when my new phone won't connect to the car. So this whole infotainment system here is pointless. So they need to offer the support and the feedback to be able to say, okay, you know what, your new Samsung Galaxy 50,000 is available. And it's not compatible with our units. Come in and we'll happily update it for you. We'll happily update your ICC so it all matches in. That's what I need to see what happens. I think they need to either embrace the tech and say, well, we'll give you let's say one of these new cars will last 15 years. For that 15 years, at a warranty period, we'll still give you, your updates so you can use your latest tech. We can still kind of make it work with what we have.
But if people have to come in to get that done, I don't think people are gonna. If they could do it at home, maybe.
Yeah, if they offer them, because all cars these days have got USB ports. But if they don't, you might have to plug it in through your OBD2 port or stuff like that. At the end of the day, they're not going to do it because it's going to cost them money. But for your general consumer, they're not going to be able to afford a new car every year anyway. So it's a win-lose situation, if you know what I mean.
Oh, I do really like the idea of a car company offering, I guess, a fascia kit with just a doubled-in or a singled-in insert, so you can install your own unit as you wish. It just doesn't seem like they would do it. They have no incentive to do it, unfortunately. But that would be a pretty good solution, along with just providing free updates.
Yep.
That it's still, at least software-wise, keep things going. Hardware, unfortunately, are probably a much different.
It's a different thing, yeah. But as I said, with most cars before, they're running like a MyLink or a sync system. What you want to be able to do is you want to be able to still have that functionality and kind of make it work with what you have. So if you offer the updates and commit to it, great. But if you don't, well, it's gonna really catch a lot of people out. Look, it's quiz time. I think Alam's in the seat for tonight.
Now I don't think there's a chance of me being on the leaderboard. So,
you're not doing too bad. I think you're like your third or something at the moment. But
I'm tied with a few people in that. So
you are tied with a few people, but I was impressed with your last performance. So are you ready for this?
I am, but just a quick question. So if I get a lower score on this quiz, I'd still keep my old standing, correct?
You do, that's correct. You do.
Okay.
I'm not going to take that away from you.
I'll appreciate that then.
I think Adam last week got a lower score than he did a couple of weeks previously, and he's just like, crap. But I've kept his top score. Your top score counts. So
Okay.
we're going to have to figure out like an award or a gift for the smartest car guy I know. Because I did pretty crappy, to be honest. But let's start the quiz. Question 1. The Ford Mustang EcoBoost has what size engine?
I believe it is a 2.3 litre.
That is correct. Question 2. Who pulled out of the World Rally Championship for next year this week? It's a big company. And they pulled out, I'll give you a clue, they pulled out for a reason that they've had a big scandal recently.
I want to say Volkswagen, but
Yeah, that's correct. Volkswagen. The diesel gates cost them way too much money, so they're pulling out of rally altogether.
actually, no Volkswagen did rally. So
Yeah. Question 3. True or false? The Jaguar F-Type is available in all-wheel drive.
True.
It is true. It's available in the SVR. Question 4. HSV model. What HSV model entered production this week?
I feel like saying the Gen F GTS.
Nah, the Grange.
Range. Oh, my other guess was going to be the Maloo. So
That's a good.
God, I'd love to buy a Maloo.
Mollies are sick. Question 5. Which Range Rover model is available as convertible? I know what you're thinking. A Range Rover is convertible. For what reason is that possible? Is that needed? But there is one.
Look, the only one I could think of that'd be that style of Range Rover is the Evoque, but that doesn't.
It is the Evoque.
Sweet.
Range Rover have created a solution to the problem no one had. So anyway.
No, it's a problem that very rich American teenagers, female teenagers.
Yes.
They want to go out with their friends in a big four-wheel drive, but they still want that convertible feel.
The wind and hair experience on an SUV. So they'll kill people while having the hair in there. Anyway, question 6. TID released 2 models in Australia. What were they? Toyota Racing Developments released 2 models. I'll give you 0.5 for each one if you get it right.
I want to say the Toyota Orion.
That was correct. Yep. That's one.
The other model. I feel like saying a Corolla.
No, it was the Hilux. I'll give you 0.5.
I'll take it.
Question 7. The Jensen Interceptor used what engine?
Jensen Interceptor. I've got no clue on this one.
Okay, it's an English car and they used an American engine.
English car, American engine. A 302?
No, it was a Chrysler V8.
That's unfortunate.
The DeLorean DMC-12 used an engine borrowed from what company?
Come on, I have this in the back of my mind. Come on. James, help out. Tag in.
I wouldn't have a bloody clue. I mean, far out. It's Mr. Fusion. 20 was it 21.1 gigawatts?
Gigawatts, yeah.
Can I ask him for a clue?
It's a French company.
Or
That might have just given it away, but
I feel like saying Renault, but
it is a Renault engine. It's a Renault V6.
I'll take a half point.
You take a half point? All right, I'll give you a half.
Good on you, Alan. Good sport.
Question 9. The Gemini was sold by Holden and what other manufacturer? The Holden Gemini. It was a joint venture between Holden and a specific company.
Oh, not specifically. I want to say Toyota.
Nah, it was Isuzu.
Isuzu.
Yeah. Question 10. The Mazda RX-8 its rotary engine is of what size and capacity?
RX-8?
Yeah,
I believe it is a 1.3 litre.
that is correct. It's 1.3. So let's add it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 out of 10.
Once again, 6.
6. Yeah, not a,
That's pretty good.
it's not bad.
No improvement.
I got 6 out of 10, so, and I host the show. It shows how much I know. Look, we're going to get to our last one tonight because we are pretty much almost out of time. We're out of time tonight. Stay tuned. We got Stratos coming in now for Street Hustle, and just thanks to you guys. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for
man.
having us.
It was actually a really good discussion on tonight. It was really good. James, give your show a quick plug.
Man vs. Movies every Tuesday at 6 p.m.
And listen to that, and straight after you've got me. Listen on the Thursday night, you've got Thursday Waffle with Fitzy and Dr. Rock, and on a Monday night, For Your Pleasure with Dr. Rock. Really good listening, and always a good time. So listen to that. But thanks again, guys, and I will see you next week. Take it easy.